Yo, what's up, everybody? As you already know, we got the Diablo 4 patch notes today. Patch 1.1 dropped earlier today. It's a huge patch, huge patch. Lots of stuff going on here. But in this one, we're just going to cover Druid specific stuff. And then there's going to be a couple quote unquote like general items that we'll cover. But aside from that, we're just going to try to mostly just keep it to the Druid. If I were to do a video on everything, the video would be over an hour long easily. But first things first, I added some new uniques and legendary aspects into the game. We have a new chase unique, the Spear of Lycander. This one is kind of bad, right? So you gain a random shrine effect for 10 to 20 seconds after killing an elite enemy and can only occur once every 30 seconds. Alright. Now, if I were to change this, right, to make it feel like it's more of a chase unique rather than it should be just a regular unique that everybody can get and not a chase one, I would get rid of this part right here. After killing an elite enemy. Right? So instead it would just say, gain a random shrine effect for 10 to 20 seconds, period. Can only occur once every 30 seconds. Now, you need a refresh on what different shrine types there are. You know, we got the artillery shrine, which boosts attack speed, and all attacks summon holy arrows. Then you got the blast wave shrine. You periodically explode, damaging enemies around you in an AoE in a circle. Then you have the channeling shrine. Your skills cost no resource and have reduced cooldowns. Then you have the conduit shrine, you know, where you turn into a little ball of lightning. You got the greed shrine, you know, the one that everybody gets, and we're like, ugh. But supposedly they buffed it. And you get gold. Well, better gold. And then you have lethal shrine. All your skills deal more damage and crit strike. And then protection shrine, you know, you're invulnerable and you're unstoppable, but I mean, you can't take any damage or be CC'd anyways. So, but I feel like if you got a roll that was 20 seconds, right? That would last for 20 seconds. And you didn't have to kill an elite enemy, and it was just can only occur once every 30 seconds, I would feel like this would be a great chase unique item. Because as it stands right now, who's going to give up their weapon slot to run this? The trade-off just is not there, right? Not there. Whereas something like Shaco, that's already giving you +4 to all skills, like by itself, right? Just right off the bat, you get +4 to all skills. That's better than any aspect you could put on, or even like the defensives and stuff that you could have on your helm, right? Alright, let's go down and look at the Druid only unique. So we got Flesh Render here. A unique one-handed mace where debilitating roar and blood howl deal 0.5 for 1 damage to nearby poison enemies. But if you go ahead and you scroll down here, the Azure Wrath and Flesh Render unique items have flat damage effects that are going to scale with your item level power. So they're using an example at 820. The Azure Wrath deals 3,359 through 6,718 damage. Now, as a Tornado Druid, I look at this and I think it's a terrible mace. Like, it's a terrible one-hander. A, because it's a mace, first of all, because I I can't think of a one-hander build that's running mace for the overpower, right? Like right now, you're just running axes because you just get the bonus damage to or healthy enemies, rather. Excuse me, right? So this feels super underwhelming too. I mean, for starters, what I would change on this, I would make it like an axe, right? At least make it an axe. Alright, let's look at the new legendary aspects. The two new general ones that they added are one's Audacity. When there are at least 5 close enemies, stun them for 2 to 4 seconds. This can only occur once every 20 seconds. Not bad. But I don't know what you would get rid of to run this right now, right? Because right now, as it stands, we need as many slots as we can get and running more defensives if we want to even like push through things, right? And this is only going to work on stuff that isn't a boss, right? Because usually the boss is only by themselves for the most part. And then you have Craven. You gain 20 to 40% increased movement speed when moving away from slowed or chilled enemies. Once again, maybe this might replace Ghostwalkers. Maybe. Just because of the... You'll see down here why in a second, but this might... Maybe. It's a big maybe. Right? But we'll see. Now the Druid only new offensive aspect that we got. Subterranean. Poison Creepers active also casts Landslide in a circle around you. Her skills deal 10 to 20% increased damage. Ring. The Druid. Oh, I forget what it's called, but the one... Oh, what is it called? No, actually, no. That still seems like it's a bad idea with that build. Trying to think what else can make use of it, right? Maybe like a supporty type of druid. That's still kind of neither here nor there, right? But if you can find somewhere to fit this and fit in like Poison Creeper into a pulverized build, this might actually be kind of good. Bug fixes, some notable ones that you should know about. One is right here, this one right here. You can no longer carry people in Uber Lilith to get the feat of strength. Let's see here, Barbarian Druid fixes. Let's see. Right here's a big one. Fix an issue where Earth skills and Pulverize skill would consume 2 overpower buffs simultaneously. Good fix. This one, I didn't even know this was a thing, but I don't run companions at all. That one's good too, right? Fix an issue where provocation passive stacks wouldn't update properly after adding more points into it. Fix an issue where automatic transformation from Insatiable Fury would cause the Earth Sign Strength key passive not to proc consistently. Fix an issue where the enhanced Pulverize buff would not remove itself while in town. I mean, does that really matter? But okay. Fix an issue where Seeking Tornadoes produced by Storm Chaser's aspect would not deal damage. That is big. Alright, fix an issue where Raven's passive damage did not improve after the skill was upgraded. I mean, that's a good fix, but I still don't see people running Ravens at all, really. Fix an issue where rabies would deal no damage while standing very close to an enemy. I haven't personally played rabies. I've theory crafted a few different rabies builds, but have not tried it out and had no idea this was a thing. Fix an issue where Stormclaw's aspect would allow Shred to do an extreme amount of damage. We all knew this was coming. Like, this was coming, and you know, what can you say? It was a super unintended thing to have. Now let's go down here. TLDR of all this stuff that we're passing by. They pretty much nerfed XP. Well, I'll cover this one really quick, okay? So now what they're doing is they're getting rid of the ability to like level up efficiently in normal dungeons. This is what I take this as. So essentially, as you can see here, right, the level scaling inside dungeons and most overworld territories have been adjusted in world tiers 3 and 4. All right. So what that means is normal dungeons and overworld stuff. Like overworld, I mean just like doing like normal stuff, right? Like if you're doing like world tree stuff, that's not in the Helltide zone. Story, whatever. I mean, you know, like quests, stuff like that, right? Like normal overworld stuff. This right here, this level scaling stuff, as you can see right here, does not affect world bosses, Legion events, Fields of Hatred, Helltide, or Nightmare dungeons. Also, they buffed Helltide, kind of. It was already a pretty good way to like level up in the overworld whenever they popped up. Now they will always be 3 levels higher than you. I mean, if you're at the minimum level, right? So, you know, if you're in tier, if you're in tier 4 and you're at like level 75, then they're going to be 78, right? And so forth. Right here, here's a big one. They killed power leveling. Their reasoning right here makes no sense. And essentially, they're nerfing everybody's XP. Right? But we also get one of those passives that you can get with your Smoldering Ashes that allows you to get more like bonus XP, but the part that's going to hurt is if you look right here is the monster level is only going to cap out at plus 10, right? See, right now, you know, world tier is only up to plus 3. World tier 2 is plus 3. World tier 3 is up to plus 10. And then up to plus 104. Right? But now, they brought 3 down to plus 6. And then 4 down to plus 10. Which is totally going against what they're saying right here. We still want to reward players for taking on this challenge by encouraging them to participate in power leveling together instead of one player killing enemies while another member of their party waits at the dungeon entrance. You know what could have fixed this? You know what really could have fixed this, right? Just keep XP in like a certain amount of range, right? Instead of nerfing this like this, they could have just made it, kept the XP the same, but people have to stay together, right? Which is going to feed into what they say here. They want people to participate together in power level. Okay. But this right here, this math does not add up. This makes me not want to play with people. You know? I mean, because I might kill things that are plus 10 to me faster than I could with a party, you know? Because right now they also buffed the monster's health by 100% per person that's in there, right? Like per extra person. So like, for instance, it used to be 85%, right? Now it's 100%. You know, the monsters have 15% more health per person that's in the party. And if people aren't pulling their weight, like in the end, it's just going to be faster for me to just do a plus 10 of my level. Because there's no sense. Because, like, why am I going to push higher? Because the XP is just going to cap out anyways. Hell Tides, the biggest change right here, like I said, you know, monsters are 3 levels higher instead of 2. And then this one right here. The chest costs 250. The mystery chest costs 250 instead of 175. This is not even like a big deal. A lot of people are making a big deal, but it's really not. I can easily get all the chests, all the mystery chests rather. If I have like 15 minutes, right? If I have 15, 20 minutes before the chests rotate, like I can get both chests at the start, and then I can get the last 2, so that's 4, and then I can even have more shards to get like another like 4 or 5 chests afterwards, right? I would say 4. Yeah, probably about 4. Depends how well I do, but yeah, about 4. Alright, let's look at the Druid changes. And we'll look at the ones that really matter, right? So Storm Strike damage reduction reduced from 25% to 15%. That's a huge defensive nerf. Huge. Right here. I have no idea why they did this one, but alright. Cataclysm lightning damage increased from 64 to 77%. Alright. But this one right here is tornado damage from 19% to 23%. That's big. 4% damage. No. This is a big nerf right here, right? To Druid. Grizzly Rage now grants unstoppable for 6 seconds instead of while being active. I can tell you right now that I've been playing and the 6 seconds does not feel like it's long enough. Like, especially that they nerf cooldown reduction, it does not feel like it's long enough. Provocation threshold required for guaranteed overpower reduced from 35-30-25 to 24-20 16 seconds. I think this is bugged right here because when I pulled it up in game, it doesn't have a requirement of a lucky hit of 75%. All right. Spirit Glyphs bonus now affects all damage instead of just core skills. That's a good change. And lastly, right here, these are your 2 Druid unique chest pieces. You know, it's just upping the skills, you know, 1 extra. And as it stands right now, I cannot recommend running like the wolf chest piece, for instance, you know, in a speedrunning build, because you're just gonna get dumpstered right now. Like, I used to be able to speedrun like 50s and 60s and stuff. No problem. But now with the defensive nerfs, you're just gonna get dumpstered on. Let's see right here. Drop rate adjustments. Increase bonus to drop ancestral and sacred items in nightmare dungeons from 5% to 10%. Good change. Remove the 20% chance to drop an equipment item from elite monsters outside of nightmare dungeons. Increased chance to drop an extra equipment item from elite monsters in nightmare dungeons and Helltide by 10%. Nightmare dungeons now have a 50% chance To drop a second legendary item upon completion. That's good. Nightmare dungeons now give 3 rare items upon completion, up from 1. That is also good. The other thing that they did too is that they put a cap on rare items. So for instance, your ancestral items now will cap out at level 80, right? So if I get a really good ancestral item, let's say like on my Druid, the max level is going to be is 80, which will allow me to, pass it over to one of my alts if I need to, a lot sooner. It's a good change, but right now they're adding in more fixes so they can be included in different builds. I mean, this control impaired duration reduction on pants, dude. Your pants you're running probably gonna just be all defensives now. Barrier generation can appear for all classes. Not really a big thing. Like, none of this stuff really matters. Like, all resistance can now appear on shields, but they didn't even fix them. The core stat bonus on weapons has been overperforming, so we're pulling back on this bonus. It used to be 50% stronger on weapons, now it's only 25% stronger. Nerf. Dexterity 50% stronger when on weapons, 25%, etc. As you can see. Cut in half right there, right? CDR 30%. Across the board. Crit strike damage 17% across the board. Well, yep. Across the board. Jeez. Vuln damage reduced by 40%. Crit strike damage inherent on swords reduced by 50%. Vuln damage inherent on crossbows reduced by 65%. These are huge. Disparities inherent of fixes can rule some weapons out before the rest of the stats can even be rolled. Yeah, that's because they're better. Like, that's what happens when you have weapons like that. They're better. You're just gonna nerf the better weapons into the ground, and it's just gonna make everything feel like shit. Damage bonus to crowd control enemies was overperforming relative to the ease of activating it versus stricter crowd control. What? Damage to crowd control enemies decreased by 30%. Damage to frozen enemies increased by 20%. What? We've seen that skillful players are frequently slaughtering monsters many levels above their own. We want to support this, but the current situation is beyond what we believe is correct for the long-term health of the game. To chase this goal, we're shifting power to many offensive affixes from defensive affixes. We know this will make our endgame content more deadly, particularly for those chasing our pinnacle boss and encounter the men for faint of heart. Overcoming the pinnacle boss will take every ounce of grit you can muster and all tools at your disposal. We will continue to evaluate feedback from the community and make changes to our combat mechanics. Like, as you can see, all these offensive stuffs increase, right? But you go down here, and all your defenses are decreased. But yet they didn't fix all, like, resistances at all. Like, at all. Like, I don't understand what they're trying to accomplish here. But what they're trying to accomplish here with this patch is all I have seen from a lot of people are negative things about this. And that's never a good thing. right? Like you'd never want to put out a patch, and all the feedback that I've been seeing is just negative, right? Because it's like negative. You got all your damage is nerfed, right? Negative. All your damage reduction stuff nerfed. You know, negative. All the XP nerfed. You know, negative. Power leveling is nerfed. That is definitely not what you want to have put out the patch before your first season. And a lot of people were saying that this first season is going to make or break Diablo 4. And I kind of agree with that. Right? Like if they don't put out a banger season, they're going to lose a lot of the player base, I feel. And I don't want that to happen. Like I love the Diablo series. I love ARPGs. I love Diablo 4, but I don't love the direction that they're trying to make this game go into. Like nerfing your damage and stuff, and your everybody across the board is not a way to go. I don't know. I don't know. I just really hope they come to their senses and see that the changes that they are doing is not going to be the good for the long term of this game. Like when you play an ARPG, right? Like you go and you want to build like a super strong character and just blast through like screens of enemies, you know? Like that's why I play it. You know, and that's why a lot of people play it. Get your character as strong as you can get and just blast. Like, I can't even blast like a 49 right now. And that's crazy to me. On a level 100 Druid, I'm struggling against enemies that are like barely like 3 levels higher than me. Struggling. Struggle busting on easy affixes. Easy affixes. That should not be happening. That shows you that they overtuned the damage reduction and the damage nerfs. Like, it took me forever to kill the boss. But at the end of the day, all I can really say is we'll have to wait and see how well the Malignant Hearts are performing too, right? Maybe this is going to all be moot once we see what those hearts are all about, right? Because maybe those things can just be super overpowered. But we'll have to wait a couple more days. Alrighty. Thank you guys for hearing my super long rant about today's patch. I will see you guys in the next video. Alright, what's up? It's me again. Totally forgot to give my specs that I would pick for season 1 that I feel are pretty safe. I mean, there's only 2 still right now, right? Like that I could sit here and tell you, hey, you know what? Yeah, pick these. I would say for season start, you should probably stick to Pulve or Tornado Druid. I mean, it's up to you. I feel like Pulverize has a better feel for leveling. But that's just me personally, but I still feel like both of these specs are still pretty safe and pretty good. Alrighty, thank you. Bye.